Hello, beautiful. It's Victoria Ewan back again from Victoria's Place Online. Today we're here to talk about the difference between mindfulness and meditation. I'm a yoga, mindfulness and meditation teacher. I've been teaching for about 9 years, live, online, recorded, lots of different ways that I've taught. I have taught retreats and workshops before, and over the years I've become quite passionate about teaching people to relax, and meditation is one of the most powerful ways of teaching ourselves to relax. I've also done extra study in therapy for breast cancer, post-surgery breast cancer, and trauma relief. And meditation is one of the best ways for these people to help with their anxiety, help with their lack of sleep deprivation. And when I started working with these people, it really dawned on me that we don't need to wait until we have some sort of trauma in our lives to give our bodies this rest that it really, really needs. From as soon as we're born these days, we are stimulated. We are, we hang things above the cot and the pram and the car seat for the babies to stare and look, and we're just so overstimulated these days. Kids go to school and they expect the teachers to jump around as a Minecraft object would. It's just it's pretty tricky these days, I think. And we're burning ourselves out. Our bodies are becoming depleted of the nutrients that it needs, and we're not giving ourselves time to balance, and we're not giving ourselves time to have that busyness. And I love being busy, don't get me wrong, but I also have to have that balance. So in the past 4 days, I've driven I think 900 Ks, doing a book tour and visiting some wonderful little towns in Western Australia and helping relax people. But now I know that I need to take some downtime. So I'm really feeling it at the moment. So I apologise if I look a little bit weary, but I really wanted to get this out to you to make sure that you have that downtime as well and you honour yourself as well. So if you haven't been on a webinar before, what you can do is that you can type in questions for me. So around your screen somewhere you'll find a little Q&A. I'll actually turn it on now. There you are. I've turned it on now so that during the webinar, we can, you can write down any questions, and at the end of the webinar, I'll go through the questions and I'll answer as best as I can. And if I have no idea of the answer, I will get back to you. If you would like to email me some questions or a comment or anything that a story, anything you'd like, you can email me victoriasplaceonline.com.au. And so hopefully I can answer your questions. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go to a few slides that I have prepared for you already, just so that my little tired mind can get through all of the information that I really, really would like to share with you, because it's just meditation and mindfulness is so important. Okay, so let's see if I can get this time. Screen share. That's what we want. Start screen share. Okay, so mindfulness and meditation. As I said, I'm Victoria Ewan. Oh, it's gone back to me. I don't want you to see me. I want you to see the slides. What's happened now? Let's see what's happened. And this is why, my friends, we need mindfulness in our lives because technology doesn't always play the game, or my tired mind doesn't either. Okay, so let's see if I can do this again. Maybe that needs to happen, and then that needs to go away, and then we are, whoops, got to the top, and we're here. Yay! Mindfulness and meditation. So I said, my name is Victoria Ewan. So just a little bit, this is my beautiful family. I live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, Bustleton in Western Australia. These are my two little gorgeous kids. My eldest child is 10 and my youngest is 9 at the moment. And this is my husband, Tim. So we try and spend as much time in nature, and I find that this is a really, really great way of practicing our mindfulness, because we can look around and meditating also on the beauty that is around us all the time. So a little bit of me, isn't this beautiful? This is where I was born. I was born in Rarotonga in the Cook Islands, and you can see it's this tiny little island that is off New Zealand and Australia. It's absolutely stunning, but I was born in there in 1975, so it's a little bit primitive. It was absolutely gorgeous, but there wasn't too much around. And I, at 10 months old, I actually got very unwell. So you can imagine here the hospital was very basic, and no one really knew what was wrong with me. And so I screamed and screamed and screamed. My stomach started expanding and expanding and expanding. And a doctor eventually flew in from New Zealand to come and see me. And so what happened was that my bowel had formed a knot and I had intussusception. So what they had to do very, very quickly was they had to cut me open quite quickly, and they had to cut that knot out. And so because it was done so fast, everything was sort of done, well, it was done in a rush, and it wasn't probably the best job that they could have done if they had more time. They did the best job they could have done with the time they had. So I'm incredibly grateful that I am alive and they did that. But because it was done so fast, I actually screamed so much and popped the whole lot open again. So they very quickly again had to put it back together. And so what has happened now is that my belly, my digestive system, has so much scar tissue and so many adhesions in it that it has caused quite a lot of trouble over my life. And to cut a very long story short, I was in and out of hospitals for many, many years. The doctors had done so many surgeries, they couldn't operate anymore. And they just said to deal with the pain, I would have to be on morphine. And that was going to be quite a lot of the time because it was very, very painful. And so I said, no, I'm not very good at taking no for an answer. And so I started to look into it myself, and I started to recognize that stress was the main trigger. Stress was the main trigger for me, for my bowel to start contracting, and for all of the adhesions to get in the way of the digestive system, and for me to become very, very unwell. And so during my very, very passionate research, almost to a point where it took over my life, I stopped watching any form of TV. I changed my job. I changed my lifestyle. I became very, very passionate about this. I retrained to become a yoga teacher, and during this, and a mindfulness and a meditation teacher, because that stress was my stress and I had to learn how to deal with it. So as I said, I became very, very passionate because it was so personal to me. I became very passionate about managing my stress, and a lot of it is through meditation and mindfulness. A lot of it is through being very mindful about what I put in my body, with not only the food that I put in my body, but also the thoughts that I put in my body. Because we have so many neurons in our gut, almost the same amount of neurons in our gut that we have in our brain. I was talking to a GP friend of mine the other day, and she said that they didn't really learn a lot about that in medicine at university, and they're really only just starting to become a little bit more au fait with it. And she's asked me to come and speak on Friday night, Thursday night, to a group of doctors about how it really physically affects me. So that was my little story, and that's why I really feel as though I can speak very passionately about this, because I'm living proof that we can manage our stress through mindfulness and meditation, and a few other things as well. And I'm not saying that stressful situations don't happen to me. I had quite a stressful situation this morning, and I'm still dealing with that. And, you know, stuff happens. It's just how we deal with it. So one of the benefits of meditation, for me, the benefit is so physical. So I have taken some research from Headspace, and Headspace is an app that I use quite regularly if my mind is going a little bit too quick and I can't practice my own meditation just with my own voice. So sometimes I like listening to other people as well. So according to neuroscientists, as we continue to meditate, our brain actually physically changes, even though we're not aware of reshaping itself. The brain is amazing. I was only just reading some more research the other day of how a different part of the brain can take over from one part of the brain that may not work anymore. So it really, really is fascinating. So mindfulness meditation activates the rest and digest part of our nervous system. And if we don't give our bodies this balance, we're just on all the time, and we can burn out too quickly. And research has shown that meditation also can promote the divergent thinking, a type of thinking that allows lots of different ideas to be generated. So if we look back in time, there's many amazing people that have actually discovered things just after they've had a nap, or they're sitting underneath a tree and an apple falls on their head. So mindfulness, it can also affect the awareness and the filtering out of other mental processes during creative tasks. So it allows us to focus. Neuroscientists have also found that just after 11 hours of meditation, practitioners had structural changes in the part of their brain involved in monitoring our focus and our self-control. Now, I find that this is very, very important in everyday life, because when we come up to stress, a lot of the emotional triggers come up in our bodies, and we can emotionally react to things. Once we practice detaching ourselves from the emotional thoughts during meditation, then it almost comes naturally to us when we have a stressful situation that we can choose, and we can have our own self-control about how we're going to react to the situation, instead of the situation and the emotions controlling us. So researchers have found that compared with other people who don't meditate, those trained in meditation stay on task longer and they've made fewer task switches. So multitasking, I just believe doesn't give you the best amount of productive work. Monotasking does. And through meditation, we can monitor a lot better, and it can be a lot more productive in our day. So research from 163 different studies suggested that mindfulness meditation practice had an overall positive effect on improving anxiety and stress. And you can see I'm using mindfulness meditation. I will get to the difference between what they are in a minute. These are just the benefits that we can get from it. Also, research in people with clinical levels of anxiety found that 90%, now that's huge, 90% experience significant reductions in anxiety. Married couples, it's found that increased mindfulness through meditation improved marital quality and communication. Awesome! So as part of the 5-week program that I've created, it's a 5-week online program, we will cover a lot more about how to fit mindfulness and meditation into your everyday life. And I'm the sort of person that I would like to fit it into your life. And I know that everybody's busy, but I don't believe that we need to sit in a cave for 6 hours and levitate with a loincloth on to say that we do meditation. So little snippets, and I'll give you quite a few ideas towards the end. So that mindfulness, that how to create your relaxed program starts on March the 6th. So I hope you can join me, and yeah, I'll give you lots of different tips on how to do that. So 6-week mindfulness exercises. So mindfulness is bringing mindful actions into our lives. Meditation is about trying to create a peacefulness inside your mind. So mindfulness we can bring into our everyday life. Meditation takes a little bit more self-control, and we'll cover a few things a little bit later in this webinar. So here's just 6 quick mindfulness exercises. When we eat, so instead of, or you can if you want to, being very mindful when you eat, sometimes it's good just to start with 2 mindful bites. So trying to be truly present when we're eating. And we cover this again in the 5-week program when I talk about mindful eating and weight management. Because if we're truly present in the moment, when we're eating, often we don't need as much. And we can really enjoy the food that we're eating. But with this one, you might like to start with just 2 mindful bites. How about taking 3 mindful breaths? And I did this just before I started this webinar. I actually do this just as I turn the ignition in the car. So try 3 breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And what does the feel of the flow of the air feel like? Is there a different temperature from the inhale and the exhale? Is there a sound you can hear? Are you breathing in through one nostril? Is one nostril more dominant than the other nostril? So really being mindful with those breathing, with the breaths. Taking very small mindful moments. Like I said, this is how it starts, and little small moments can build up to bigger moments. Bigger moments can build up to days. Our days can build up to our week, and then we'll find that we are actually leading a lot more of a mindful life. So if we have 1 minute to spare, just stop. Just stop. Look around. Instead of looking at your phone, checking your emails, anything like that, look around you. Check in with your breath. See if you're balanced either side of your body. See how you're standing. Check your posture. Have a look outside. Look at the stars. Look at how the wind is moving through the trees. Just stop in the moment. Another beautiful way that we can be mindful is scanning our bodies. And I give quite a few meditations out, and the body scan is one of the most popular ones that people ask for all the time. And I can give you a link to it at the end if you want to. I always give my meditations out for free. I just think they're so important that money shouldn't stop you relaxing your body. So when we're scanning our body, you might like to think about all the different parts of our body, from the toes all the way up to the head. And then stopping at each part and seeing if there's any tension that we're holding on to that you can release from this area. Perhaps you can do one action mindfully, just one thing every single day. And really think about every single day doing that mindfully. So for an example, like I said, taking a few breaths every time you turn the ignition on in the car. Every time you turn the kettle on, just stop and look out the window. This is really important. Every time you're going to sleep, doing one of those body scans that I just talked about. It's really important for you to get a deep sleep, my friend. Really important for your body. So what is the difference? What is it between mindfulness and meditation? So at first look, oh, my spelling mistakes. Goodness, I must be a little bit tired today. I apologize. So at first look they're not very different, but they actually are. So often they're the same instructions, they're the same benefits, they're the same skills, relaxation and attention. But meditation is so ancient, and we know why it's been around for such a long time, because it's so good. It's not a phase, it's not a fad. It is so good, and it's actually such a blessing that it is coming back into our lives, even if it is coming back into our lives through mindfulness. So meditation stemmed from Buddhism and through yoga. It comes from an ancient monastic tradition based on withdrawal from the world. But mindfulness is related to psychology, to education, to scientific research, rational thought, and our everyday language. So its values are not at all monastic. So it integrates into everybody's lives so much easier than if you were to go to a monastery. So mindfulness, it's got far more potential than meditation. And I might get into a little bit of trouble for that. But we have to sit still to meditate. But we can be mindful in every single part of our lives, like I've mentioned before. But meditation, it takes time, but we can, and typically do, become mindful in an instant when we need to. So meditation focuses inwardly on the body, but mindfulness it's a bit more expansive field of operation. And it relates to our actions and our thoughts, our emotions, and our states of mind. So how do we do a meditation practice? So when we first start to meditate, it's interesting and sometimes annoying to realize that we have what the Buddha calls a monkey mind. So the mind that just doesn't shut up. Now, this is normal. People say this to me all the time. Oh, I can't meditate. I can't stop my mind. Now, that is why we need to meditate. I find this difficult as well. I remember being on a meditation retreat and the teacher saying to me, wow, you look like you really got into that meditation. And I said, yes, that was amazing. I only had one conversation going on in my head instead of 3 or 4. So sometimes my meditation is just listening to one stream of thought and actually coming to a conclusion instead of things from jumping all over the place. So don't get disillusioned if you have this chatterbox mind. It's normal. That's what the mind's meant to do. That's what your brain is meant to do. If it wasn't thinking, I'd be a little bit worried about you. Okay, so I do suggest making a meditation practice very short to start with. I've written here 5 minutes, but you know what? Even 1 minute would be fabulous. We can increase it as we go. Maybe 1 minute twice a day, maybe 1 minute, once a day. But the key is repetition. So when we're having a meditation practice, we do say that the spine's straight. Now it allows for the nervous system to be alert. The nervous system runs up and down the spine. And it keeps us awake because often we fall asleep. And if you need a good sleep, great, have a good sleep. But that's really not what we want in our meditation practice. We keep the body nice and balanced and we sit comfortably. You can sit on the floor, but if your hips and your knees hate that, just sit on a comfortable chair. So our eyes, some say keep your eyes a little bit open so you don't fall asleep. I just think you need to do what's good for you. So just have a little play around with it. See if you're more comfortable with the eyes open. See if you're more comfortable with the eyes shut. Because if I meditate with my eyes open, I often look at, maybe a pile of clothing that should go in the wash or something like that, and my mind gets distracted. So I like to meditate with my eyes closed. We need to focus. We need to focus to, I've said rein our thought. I said to train. Oh my goodness. So we need to focus it allows the mind to be active during the meditation. So it's less likely to follow any train of thought you may be having. So I'd suggest focusing on the breath because we've always got the breath. We don't need any bells or whistles. I don't teach meditation with any sort of form of ritual with a bell or music or anything like that, because I don't want you to have any excuse. I don't want you to say, oh, I can't meditate because I haven't got my music, or I can't meditate because I haven't got my cushion or my incense stick. I want you to be able to meditate anywhere. So after a while, after you're focusing on your breath, you might like to also focus on a word, a mantra, or a process. So scanning your body like we talked about before. So the breath is always in the here and now. We don't have a breath in the past. We don't have a breath in the future. It's right here. This is where we start. This is where we're born with the breath, and this is where we finish. There's no need to change the breath. We just listen to the breath and feel it. Now, there's a few ways that we can do the counting breath. Counting your breath. Wow. I apologize. There are a few ways that we can do this. We can count how many seconds it takes for you to breathe in and how many seconds it takes for you to breathe out. So we could say breathing in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4. And we can just continue going like that. It gives the mind something to focus on. Or there's quite a few different ways we can do this, but another way is just silently counting 1 on the exhale. So we breathe in and then 1 on the exhale. In and then 2 on the exhale. In and 3 on the exhale. And you might be able to get up to 10, and then we start again. But if the thoughts start to come into your mind before you get to 10, just start back again at 1. Start again and start again and start again. And try not to judge yourself too harshly on this. When I first started doing this particular counting breath meditation, I could only get to 3 before a thought started entering my mind. So as I say, be very gentle on yourself. Don't judge yourself harshly at all when we're doing this. We just acknowledge, oh, there's a thought. I'm going to go back to 1. So like I said before, it is the job of the brain to think it's normal. So when we notice our thoughts coming, just acknowledge them and go back on the breath. The more we get worked up about it, the harder to come back to our meditation. So there's so many meditations available. I have made it a bit of a practice of mine to download as many meditation apps as I can, so I can suggest. I have written a blog on my website about the 10 best meditation apps that I've found. So my website is victoriasplaceonline.com.au. And I just suggest finding one that the voice is very soothing for you. Because if the voice annoys you on a meditation, you're not going to relax. Now, the other thing is music is really lovely, and there's lots and lots of meditation music around. But during meditation, it can be a little bit of a distraction. So we're really trying to get into our own minds. And if we have a music on, our minds are always out of our minds listening to that music. Does that make sense? And so music is really nice to have, to relax to, but maybe not so much to meditate to. Silence is the key. So the How to Create a Relaxed Home program, like I said, I'll give you in week 3 lots and lots of different ways that you can take mindfulness into your life. And in week 4, we talk about mindful eating in a lot more detail and how to manage your weight through mindful eating. So the next program that I'm starting starts on March the 6th, and I really hope that you can join me. It's an online program, so you can just do it from home. Now, I do love to give out a lot of information, and I'm actually a little concerned I've put too much information in here. So you might not like to complete it in 5 weeks. You can take as long as you want to complete it. You have all of the information for your whole life to come back to whenever you need to. Like I said, I love giving out gifts. So there's lots of bonuses when you join me on this 5-week course. You get a resource list, and I continue adding to this resource list of, like I said, apps that I can find, interesting information, lots of YouTube clips. I've got interviews with experts. I've recorded lots of meditations for adults and children, and you get all of those. And as I add to them, you get them as well. So there's lots of information. I also send you a gift. I send you a mala bracelet. It's a really good way of, it's like a rosary bead. It's a really good way of focusing our attention, and another lovely way to build on your meditation practice. I give you a journal so you can write down everything. I give you some beautiful essential oils. You get the home retreat kit if you haven't got that already. I give you a 7-day recipe book, Facebook group only for us, and an Instagram hash. That's actually quite interesting that we can start being a little bit accountable, especially with our decluttering. That's quite funny. Now I sit down here and I am yours to speak to for 5 weeks nonstop. I'm here to answer any questions. I'm here to support you. I give you an email every now and then, say, come on, how are you going? And I also send you a 7-day yoga beginners video, because I think yoga is one of the best ways to detox our bodies and to have healthy, strong bodies. I give you a yoga nidra, which is one of the best meditations that you will find anywhere, and also a gift, a certificate on completion. So Mish went through my course last year, and she had these beautiful words to say. She said, Victoria's done an amazing job at creating a course for people who are wanting to get started overhauling their life in a way which is user-friendly and accessible. She's a deep passion for empowering people to make these decisions and supports them with practical and thoughtful tools. I'd highly recommend this program to anyone looking at decluttering their whole life from the inside out. So I hope this webinar has encouraged you to create more of a relaxed, calm lifestyle through mindfulness and meditation. Now let's try and come back to us. Are we here? No, we're not here yet. Hello. Hi. Okay, so let's just stop that screen share. Yay, we're back. Hi. Oh, good. So there's been some nice questions. So, okay, so so there are lots of different ways that we can bring meditation into our lives. This person's just asked for a few ways that I do it. Okay, so one of the ways that I do it, I have a morning practice. I have an early morning practice, and each morning I get up and I do a specific routine, and it sets my day up for a nice, calm, relaxed day. No matter what things get thrown at me, then I know that I've set myself up really well. So I can give you that practice if you want me to. It just it takes a little bit of time to explain. Another way that I do it is, like I said, at the beginning of as I turn the car on, every single time. I just think that if we're going onto the street, I've usually got the kids in the back, I need to be mindful. I need to know that my mind is clear, and I need to know that if there's someone pulling out, I'm going to be there and present in the moment, and I'm going to be really focusing on what I'm doing when I'm driving. The other day I was driving back from a country place. I think it was probably about 9:30 at night time, and it's so important when we're driving to be mindful. Massive sheep in the middle of the road. Came out of absolutely nowhere. I was looking for kangaroos because that's what we do around the country roads. But this is a really big sheep. Absolutely slammed on the brakes. I'm so glad my brakes work. But if I had been not mindful, and if I had been in the future thinking about something else, or if I'd been in the past thinking about something else, I may not have noticed that was right there in front of me. So mindfulness in every single different part of your life, especially in the car. Okay, so if there's a time lag, when I'm picking up the kids, or if I'm bored out of my brain and I'm sitting there by myself watching them play sport, and they're not play sport, but just do the training, how they've got to do all of that and the sporting games, I'll often have meditation on my phone, or I download lots and see which ones actually suit me at the time. So, is there any more questions? Thank you. Yes, I know I do look a little bit tired. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But I am going off to do my meditation, an extra one today. So, yeah, you don't have to do the 5-week program in 5 weeks, like I said before. You can do it at any time. So I am starting on March the 6th, but if that doesn't suit you for the program, you'll start getting it, but you don't have to open it straight away. So you can open it whenever you like, but I'll only be online available for you to talk with me at any time during those 5 weeks. Okay, so I hope you can join me. I'm really grateful that you are watching this, and if you've got any comments or if you've got any questions, I'd love to speak and I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.